Welcome back to the 49th episode of the BatChums podcast. I'm Drew Leiter, and joining me tonight is my co-host, the man, the myth, the new leg, if I can say it, the new legend, the excellent Mike Gordon.
Howdy! I thought you were going to say the new legend. No, that's too difficult. I can barely say that. So, there's only so far you can push the egg puns. Although they managed to get them all in, I think, in this two-parter. The ones that we missed on the first half, they managed to squeeze in on the second half. There's still a lot. I think Ross, who wrote the episode, said that he went into the dictionary and took like there were about 70 words or so that started with X, excited or X, exclamation, and he just crossed them off as he used them throughout the writing of the script. So he tried to use all. I would, if I was going to do another rewatch, I would try to count all the egg puns. Certainly, if you played a drinking game, you would be wasted. But yeah, I mean, they pack a lot in there. But
They-
yeah, it's fun.
All right, so this is Batman Season 2, Episode 14, The Yegg Foes in Gotham.
Again, this is another take on the Tree Grows in Brooklyn title. That was a classic novel that again has nothing to do with the plot or anything else to do with the story. Like I guess it's just a play on it. People have wondered what Yegg means. I think that it's a word that means it's fallen out of favor. I don't think anybody uses it anymore. I don't even know if anybody was using it in the 60s either. But I think it means thief or something like to that effect. So yeah, it's I think the Yegg foes in Gotham was supposed to, you think it's referring to Egghead, but I think it actually refers to Batman and Robin because they are the foes of the thief. So a little bit of a play there, but
All right, the episode aired Thursday, October 20th, 1966, directed by George Wagner, teleplay by Stanley Ralph Ross, and story by Edwin Self.
again, it's Wagner with two capital G's. I love how the graphic folks were having a little bit of fun with that particular graphic. I don't think it's scattered throughout the graphics, certainly not at the end graphics or anything, but yeah, they certainly gave the director a little bit of an egg. They were all in. Like I said, they all in on the egg puns.
So last episode, Egghead had hooked Bruce Wayne up to a machine that he invented that allow that will allow him to transfer Bruce Wayne's memories into his, leaving him a vegetable. And now it's time to bring in our expert, Magic Batman.
That's one big
Magic
egg.
Batman. Magic Batman. Will Egghead learn that Bruce Wayne is Batman and leave our hero a vegetable?
No, I think a vegetable just seems like it's not on brand. It should be like an empty
I know.
shell. They should have said leave him an empty shell. That would have made a lot more sense to me. I think they missed an opportunity.
They did. All right. Magic Batman says tragically no. I don't know why that's tragically, but
I don't either.
no,
Perhaps we should
he's not going to learn his identity and he's not going to be a vegetable.
perhaps we should have asked Magic Robin about this one because it's not actually Batman who saves the day here.
Nope, it's not. Egghead is ecstatic that in 4 seconds, Bruce Wayne will be as helpless as a newborn baby. Dick Grayson notices that on the wall it is written, dangerous, do not use with 2020 machines. Dick changes the voltage from 440 to 220 Egghead's machine malfunctions, causing it to sizzle and steam.
You almost get a fried
I,
egg
I
there.
originally I put in my notes explodes, and then I was like, well, not it didn't really explode because they would have
No, no,
taken out
it
Bruce
it
and Egghead.
it exploded. Uh,
Yeah.
it exploded. So this is a big deal to me because last week we pointed out that this was the only cliffhanger in the entire run of the show. Certainly as we've gotten this thus far in the run of the show, but I understand throughout the whole entire run of the whole 60s Batman series that Dick Grayson uh, is involved in the cliffhanger. Not Robin, but Dick Grayson. And I think it's significant, even more significant here, because Dick Grayson, aka Robin, saves the day. And I think this is the first time he's done it since we've started watching. I don't know if that, I'll be curious to see if it plays out that Robin ever actually saves the day. But this is the first time that Robin or Dick Grayson has saved the day. And I think, there's been some really, odd occurrences to get them out of their calamity, their cliffhanger, their situations, but never has it been up to Robin to save Batman. And wow, this was, I think, if you're a Dick Grayson fan, if you want to give like this has to go down as one of the biggest moments of like Dick Grayson on the series because I think it's just amazing. Like it's amazing that it's here. I'm glad, and I'd like to see more of it actually.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool because he did it all on his own. He didn't get any hints from Batman or anything.
Nope, nope. Yeah, that's true. You're right because Bruce wasn't over there going, "Hey Dick, why don't you like do this or whatever?" And he was just like, he got the idea. You're right. He got the idea on his own. I mean, that I think is the Dick Grayson we know from the comics, who doesn't wait, who acts, and 9 times out of 10 acts in succeeds in what he's doing. And That's the Dick Grayson I grew up with. And It's interesting because I think Dick Grayson, we don't give Bruce Ward, we don't give Burt Ward, we don't give Burt Ward enough credit sometimes. We're talking about Adam West and his performance, and it's difficult to give Burt too much credit because his acting is a lot more limited. His range is a lot more limited. But I mean, he's really great as Robin overall. I mean, as a kid, I really he did exactly what he was supposed to do, which is bring the kids in. You want to be Robin. You want to be Robin. I mean, yeah, you want to be Batman, but Batman's an adult. You identify and you want to be Robin too. And Robin's cool in this series for the most part. And yeah. Now, yeah, but later on we'll discover that might not be true of uh, Bert himself in this storyline and behind the scenes. But as far as on screen, it's a great moment for Dick, I think.
Bruce rushes over to free Dick and the other millionaires. Egghead runs to the doorway. His henchmen are anxious to learn if Bruce Wayne is Batman. Egghead exclaims that it is inconceivable that Bruce Wayne is Batman. His head is filled with useless trivia. Egghead tells the millionaires to stay back. Egghead pulls out a radar egg. The slightest vibration will make it explode. He rolls it out onto the floor. Egghead looks at his watch, stating that the lease is about to expire. Nothing can stop them now. The villains exit the building. I threw one of my own in there. Thanks. Tells the other millionaires that they only have one chance. The radar egg is only sensitive up to 6 feet. Do exactly as he does. Bruce jumps up to the copper pipe and makes his way across the room as if he's on the monkey bars. Dick and the other millionaires follow, making it safely across the room. Dick states they can't just leave the bomb there, Some innocent bystander might get hurt. Bruce tells the other millionaires to leave the room. Using grapes in a nearby fruit bowl, Bruce plays marbles, triggering the bomb with a grape. Dick is impressed that Bruce got it on the first shot. Bruce exclaims that at the age of 11, he was junior marble champion of Gotham City. Dick nods his head, commenting, even then.
Even
Bruce
then.
pops a grape in his mouth.
To the victor go the spoils, or in this case, the grapes.
Dick asks Bruce how he was able to keep his identity secret. Bruce states that after years of mental training, he was able to block off the portion of his brain. He couldn't have lasted much longer, though.
That's cool because on the one hand, I think I even kind of, hinted at it last week when they were in the predicament, and I said, Bruce has conditioned his mind to withstand all sorts of torture and stress and everything. So I'm pretty sure that's going to play into it. But the fact that he even admits he couldn't have lasted that long, and if it wasn't for Dick's actions, he would have been a goner. So, I like that was, it wasn't just, it was a nice little pat on the back, in his own way.
Right. And we've seen it in the comics before, his mental capabilities. I
Yes.
mean, even recently, Chip Zdarsky visited that with Batman even creating a whole personality, the Zen R personality, you know, you know, making a whole different personality just in case something happened to
Right.
him. So,
Right. Yeah.
so
Yeah, I
we
mean
have seen that in the comics before.
yeah, it's a good callback. I mean, I don't know how prevalent it was back in the 60s when Ross was right. I don't feel like Stanley read a lot of comics. Not based on a lot of his stories anyway. It doesn't feel like anything that he writes comes from the comics. And yet there are some things that are parallel. So good stuff.
Yeah. One thing I want to point out though is the other millionaires should have figured out Bruce was Batman just by some of the actions he was doing. Not only did Egghead plant the idea in their heads, some of the stuff they're doing, jumping up on the copper pipe, taking out the bomb, and they didn't object about Dick staying in the room with Bruce when he's going to take care of this bomb.
Yeah, really. Yeah, we'll leave, but what about the kid? You want to put the kid in danger? Yeah, that's yeah. Well, I don't know a lot of millionaires, Drew. So I can't really speak to what their mindsets are, but my understanding is they just really care about themselves. And so if someone says you better leave, you're in danger, they will it's every millionaire for himself.
Elsewhere, Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara are standing with Chief Screaming Chicken. Midnight has come and gone. Gotham City now belongs to Chief Screaming Chicken. Back at police headquarters, Batman consults with the mayor to make sure that this is legal. The mayor is afraid it is. Robin states, "Isn't it against the law to hold three millionaires against their will?" Commissioner Gordon states, "There is no more law in Gotham City."
Yeah, this is
That re-
uh this is the first time we've seen the mayor this season. He showed up in a couple of episodes, a Joker episode and the bookworm episode. But we actually get the mayor has a name, Linseed. I think that's a play on I believe it's Mayor Lindsay from New York at the time. But he's still played by Byron Keith. So, and we'll see him. My understanding is he'll recur. We'll see him again too. So here's another part of the Gotham City administration that is recurring.
Egghead walks into Commissioner Gordon's office with his official contract with Chief Screaming Chicken. It gives Egghead complete control of Gotham City as Chief Screaming Chicken's emissary. Egghead fires both the mayor and the police commissioner. Next, Egghead expels Batman and Robin from the confines of Gotham City limits. If Batman and Robin show their masks around there, he will have them both executed.
Mm.
Egghead escorts the Batmobile to the edge of the city limits. Robin states this is the saddest day of his life. Gotham City was his kind of town. Batman salutes, and then the Cape Crusaders drive off.
I thought again, this is a great, I thought it was a great moment for Burt Ward does a great job here where he's like, Batman, in my short life, I think this is the saddest day, or something to that effect. And then he said, goodbye, Gotham. You were my kind of town. He's quoting old Blue Eyes. He's quoting Frank Sinatra there. Which, I think we know that Dick's not hip on the newest trend in music. So I mean, it was Frank Sinatra was still popular, I think, in the 60s, but I think a lot of kids were listening to something else back then.
Probably the Beatles.
Probably. Yeah. I think or maybe the
Or the
Monkees.
monkeys. We were thinking
Exactly.
the same thing. Maybe he's taking the last train to Clarksville.
Maybe. Well, Dick wasn't.
Back at the Batcave, Batman states that Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson will be able to do more good than Batman and Robin. They are going to steal the city charter and look for a solution that may have been overlooked. Back in Gotham City, criminals are looting the city while the police stand by helpless to stop them. Even the newscaster on TV is robbed while broadcasting.
There's a there's a lot of like really kind of cool cameos here. The guy who is the newscaster who gets his stuff stolen while he's reading the news on the air, I believe was the MC or the host of I think it was Groucho's show. What's my line? I'm not positive about that, but I do know that the woman who's the litterer who litters and is caught littering. That's Mae Clark. And she was in a lot of movies. She was in 1931's Frankenstein. She was also in Public Enemy. She got her famous scene where Edward G. Robinson smashes a grapefruit in her face. So she's an actress of some regard. Also, the cop that is writing her up Ben Alexander is played by Ben Alexander, who played Sergeant Frank Smith on Dragnet. And of course, Dragnet was known for that saying, just the facts, ma'am. So when Ben Alexander, who is writing her up, says just the facts, that is, of course, a direct reference to Dragnet.
Interesting. Bruce and Dick steal the charter. Back in Commissioner Gordon's old office, an egg on the desk starts blinking. Egghead is ecstatic because he knows Batman and Robin had fallen into his trap. Egghead tells all police officers to be on the lookout for Batman and Robin.
Yeah, and then he
Bruce
he
Wayne
looks
and Dick
then he looks
Grayson.
directly at the camera and says, "I wonder who they are."
Oh, yes, he did he? I almost forgot about
Yeah, he
that.
he he's stumped because he thought for sure it was Bruce Wayne, but of course, Bruce Wayne outwitted him in terms of his fabulous mind control or ability to control his own mind, and now Egghead is stumped. He has no idea who they are. If he knew who actually stole the charter, then he would probably have a clue as to who Batman and Robin are because he is wrong I mean, the alarm goes off and he's like, Batman and Robin have stolen the charter. He's wrong. Well, he is absolutely wrong about that because it's not Batman and Robin who steal the charter. It is, in fact, Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, who I mean, they don't like Robin says, actually, I'm sorry, Dick at this point says to Bruce, like, hey, why don't we use the bat laser to, break in and break the glass? And he's like, and Batman's like, I'm sorry, again, Bruce says, no, because that would I don't want any evidence, any indication that Batman and Robin did this. I want people to think that Dick Grayson and Bruce Wayne did this. So they're really playing it up and fooling Egghead.
Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson run into Chief O'Hara on the way out of City Hall. Chief O'Hara asks them if they have seen Batman and Robin. Commissioner Egghead has given them orders to shoot them on sight. Bruce states he hasn't seen Batman for weeks. I thought that was kind of funny because Chief O'Hara's asking about him, but is he really going to shoot Batman and Robin? I don't think so.
Well, I mean, well, they have evidence that I mean, they did it once before, but it was all a ruse to fool the Penguin. And that one episode with where they were gunned down in an alley, which by the cops, which was pretty startling. But yeah, and look, I mean, O'Hara's not the brightest bulb. He knows that Batman and Robin are there, and he sees Bruce and Dick come out, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" Not so obvious, but it all works out in the end.
Back at the Batcave, Batman finds the clause he has been looking for. If the heirs to Gotham City's lease fail to make a payment on the approved day, said property reverts to the Mohican Indians and or their legal represent, representatives. The only stipulation of this clause is that the property never be leased to anyone that has committed crimes against Gotham City, territory, or the crown. In those days, Gotham City was still a British colony.
Yep.
Batman believes that Egghead is going to go after the Gotham Treasury. With the taxes just collected, Robin speculates there must be close to $30 million in the vault. The British synonym for treasury is executor, or how do I pronounce that? Ex. Sorry, why I try to figure out how that's pronounced. Ex. Excure?
I don't know. You're on your own in this one.
Yeah. Or or eggs checker. To the Batmobile.
Yeah, that one
Batman
was
and Rob.
one that I had to rewind a couple times because I wasn't quite sure the word they were going for, and I think I had to use the captions on that one because I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that term. Again, it's another term that has fallen out of favor, at least in
Yeah,
this
I've
country.
never heard of it. Batman and Robin show up to Commissioner Gordon's office. Strangely, both Commissioner Gordon and the mayor are there.
They're packing up.
I thought they had left. The mayor informs Batman that Egghead has put a price on his cow. The person that brings him in dead or alive gets $50,000. That seems like a kind of low price on Batman's head, if you ask me.
Well, in the 60s it was pretty high, but still, I get your point, especially when uh you know, but I think it's a true credit to Gordon and the mayor, Mayor Linseed, that they don't just gun Batman and Robin down right there. I mean, that's $50,000, right? Like, I don't know if it's times two, if that includes like does Robin get any like is he did he like what do you pay for Robin? Like, is that part of it? You have to gun them both down or. So, but it's
I don't think so. As we find out later in the episode, Egghead's pretty cheap. Steals all that money and then won't even pay for eggs.
well, that's a matter of principle. We'll get to that, but that's a matter of principle, not a question of whether or not he can afford it. It's more like, what does he say? That just isn't done.
Batman explains the clause that prohibits any criminal from leasing Gotham City. Batman and Robin are going to the Treasury to stop Egghead. Commissioner Gordon notifies all police that Egghead does not have a legal claim on Gotham.
And uh, and then he also breaks the fourth wall and turns right to the camera and says, "Thank our lucky stars, we can call them our friends." I mean, like we have two characters here, both do it in Commissioner Gordon's office, right? That look straight at the camera. Now, it's not unheard of for characters on this series to break the wall and look directly at the camera and address the audience. But here, I just thought it was interesting because we have two different characters doing it in the same episode, which that is rare. So.
Yeah. We just saw Commissioner Gordon do it a few episodes ago.
Yeah, yeah. Commissioner Gordon does it probably more than anybody. I mean, he always just sort of has, looks at he likes, we can identify with him, I guess. Like, hey, isn't it cool? We all love Batman. We can all share in our love for Batman. And I also thought it was cool that Gordon says to the mayor, just think, we didn't have Batman in Gotham for just 24 hours and the whole place went to hell. I mean, he doesn't say that, but he was basically saying this place went crazy. Look how much we depend on that guy. So he's thankful. He doesn't wonder who they are. He just thanks his lucky stars. We can call them our friends.
As they are climbing down the bat rope, Batman tells Robin to never sacrifice safety for speed. Suddenly, Jose Jimenez pops his head out the window to tell Batman and Robin about a jury case he is working on. He tells them to leave the rope.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty dark humor there, actually. And also, I guess in an episode where we're inundated with this sort of not politically correct use of Indians and Native Americans and all of that, it's easy to kind of overlook this, but this is Bill Dana, who had a character that he created, I believe, originated from the Steve Allen show, called Jose Jimenez. So the character's name is Jose Jimenez, who appeared in all sorts of things, and Bill Dana had quite success with it. He finally retired it, I think. I don't know, about a decade after this, sometime in the 70s, because I think the Hispanic community was not pleased with his portrayal, and he felt pretty bad about it. So he retired the character. I think he even had a public like funeral for him and everything. But yeah, so Bill Dana is the cameo, the window cameo of this two-parter. Are you familiar with him at all?
I, I mean, I vaguely remember him.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
Vaguely.
I can't think of anything where he was prominently featured. But he pops up in various TV roles and various variety specials. And I think he's even in some movies where he plays that character as well. But yeah, it's pretty dark humor where, he's on a jury. They're trying to decide. They've already decided that the party is guilty. They're just trying to decide what the sentence should be. And yeah, then they ask Batman and Robin to leave the rope.
Leave the rope.
Because I think they're gonna man using the bat rope to hang someone. Ugh, that's creepy. That's dark.
Yeah. Yeah, that is dark. That goes kind of against Batman.
Hey, if it's part of the system though, you know.
I don't, yeah, I don't think Batman would go for it though.
You don't think Batman's in favor of the death penalty?
No. Batman and Robin arrive at the treasury to find that every penny is gone, and Chief Screaming Chicken is tied up and locked in the safe. Chief Screaming Chicken states that Egghead plans to escape to South America because he wants to run Venezuela.
Yeah, he wants to run to Venezuela, and I think his last utterance, which is cringeworthy, is that his face is so red. And yeah, I don't. I think no, I do. We think we see him after that. We see him. I think at the. Do we see him at the follow up? No, I don't know if we do. But in any case, yeah. Ooh, cringy.
Yeah. Back at the Batcave, Batman points out that Egghead diets consist solely of grade triple A white eggs. Therefore, there is only one place he can go to load up on eggs: Old McDonald's chicken farm.
Yeah, they go through some detecting here, which is always cool to see, right? Whether they're using the computer or not. I think in the last episode we were talking about how they were using the bat file, right? Which you were thinking was different from the bat computer, if and how it was different. I think in this one they actually have both of them side by side. I think you see the bat file right there, that device, and then next to it is the sign that says, I think, the bat computer. So they're using both things, but um, they do actually make a point here to show that Batman is pretty smart, and because when Robin is talking about all the places that they could go, that Egghead could go to get eggs, he names the place, and Batman doesn't even need the computer. He's just like, that place only has brown eggs. That place is doesn't doesn't have enough, doesn't make enough eggs. And then he says, something to the effect of, when the third choice comes, I think he says, if my memory serves correct, and then Robin says, and it always does. And it's not a slam. It's not a sarcastic remark. I don't think. I think it's Dick is pretty honest there, where he's saying like I marvel at you. Um, so but yeah, then they decide to go to, of course, Old McDonald's chicken farm.
At Old McDonald's farm, Egghead decides that they must escape through the sewers since the police have blocked off all the overland routes. Batman and Robin appear. Egghead and his men start throwing eggs at them. Batman and Robin throw them back. A fist fight breaks out, and lots of eggs are broken over people's heads. In the end, Batman and Robin are unbeaten.
There's a I see what you did there. That was a pun. Boy, you're layering even more further on some of these egg puns. Um, Old MacDonald himself is played by Burt Mustin, who's a veteran actor of over 200 films and TV shows. People will recognize him. They'll probably be like, "I know that guy. I've seen him in stuff." He was in such TV shows as and movies as Detective Story, Witness to Murder, The Killers. He was in some episodes of The Twilight Zone, Get Smart, The Monkees, and even All in the Family. He worked till I believe the late 70s. So he was around for a long time because he's pretty old in this.
He
Um,
is.
I also love the fact that while they're doing the fight scene, the music that Riddle is playing is the Old MacDonald theme, is a play on the Old MacDonald's theme. Old MacDonald had a farm. Yeah, like there's like and the punches are edited in such a way that it kind of seals that. They're like they punch to the music. I thought that was really effective. I don't. Yeah, one of these days I'm gonna have to get the soundtrack. I don't know if all these tracks that feature like some of this stuff are on the soundtrack. I hope they are because it's fun stuff. And the other thing, now this is, I looked at a number of different sources on this, and this could go either way. But one thing that is apparent is that one thing that happened while they were doing the fight scene is there was a scene that called in the script for Egghead to pelt Robin with one egg. And various sources claim that Burt Ward was being a bit of a handful during this shoot. And so the crew asked Vincent, instead of one egg, to dump a entire dozen on him. And that's what we see actually in the final shot is Egghead takes just a dozen eggs and smashes them on his face. And you can tell it's Burt Ward's face too. Now Vincent uh, laughs and tell when the way he tells it, he didn't have a problem with Burt. Although the prevailing opinion is that Bert did sort of have act. He didn't have a lot of experience, and sometimes he acted a little bit bigger than his britches, so to speak. And the crew just wanted to put him in his place a little bit, and Vincent was more than happy to oblige. But it doesn't sound like there was any real ill will. I think uh, Bert actually kind of learned his lesson, so to speak, or laughed about it or something. I don't think there was any sort of ill will towards the whole thing. But I have to say that so many eggs were broken during the making of this whole segment that I have to believe that that set reeked. I mean, there were and was sticky, and you can there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay, that's ouch. That those punches, like, but you got eggs all over you, and you're sticky, and that's a whole other level.
Yep.
That's a whole other level. You got to clean all the uniforms. You got to clean all the other thing I noticed too during the fight is that I was again glad to see that Egghead was participating in the fight because we haven't seen that from a lot of villains. So it was good to see that. Although his stuntman, his head was really shiny. I don't know if you noticed that, but he had a shiny bald head as
I
opposed to
did
the
notice.
sort of matte bald head that Vincent was using, the matte finish bald head that Vincent was using. But the stuntman had the glossy version. So, um, but it was great. It was great fun. Really, really fun stuff, and I appreciated it. So,
Egghead gives up, stating his criminal career is extinguished.
and his book.
Batman tells Mr. McDonald that he will be reimbursed for the damaged eggs at the current market rate. Back at Commissioner
He
Gordon's
also
office,
he also goes over to Miss Bacon, and inquires why a woman of such class and beauty is finds herself with someone like Egghead. And I think she just looks at him and replies, "Just lucky, I guess." And it's one of those things that's kind of like I don't I we've seen a few stories now where the pretty girl gets away, but I don't think in this case she's going anywhere. I think she's going to jail just longer with the rest of them. But but yeah, she's not feeling very sorry for anything that she's done. She was really relishing having the money in the safe when they were at the
oh yeah,
treasury. She was really loving that. So yeah, so she's going down too.
she was talking about all the stuff she wanted to buy. They were making jokes about with one of the henchmen about loaning money.
Yeah, yeah, that was, I don't know. Some of this felt like it was padding. Like I was like, where's this going? Like, why are they joking about that? But
Yeah. Back at Commissioner Gordon's office, Batman is told he is owed a debt that he can never. er, Batman is told he is owed a debt that can never be repaid. Batman states that the the good city government is its own reward. If ever if they ever need Batman again, he's as close as their bat phone.
yeah, that's a weird scene too. It feels like it's kind of weird because he says, good city government is its own reward, and then like he goes to step away, and he's almost at the door to the commissioner's office, and he turns around and he's like, don't, if you ever need me, I'm just a bat phone call away or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, we know. I mean, we use it like every week. I mean, I think the narrator at the beginning of this whole story says, something like the commissioner calls him like on the weekly, like weekly call to the Batcave or something, and yeah, they call him every week. They know how to get in touch with him,
Yep.
and they know how Gotham would suffer without them. So if they didn't know, they are definitely reminded now. So
All right. Anything else you want to say about this episode before we wrap it up?
What did you think? I mean, I think we talked about it a lot in the first part about Vincent Price and how we really appreciated the character and his enthusiasm and what he brings to the role. Um, I recently read the biography of Vincent Price written by his daughter and Victoria Price. And I checked again because it's been a little while since I read it. I think I read it last year or the year before, something like that. And I just double checked, and there's no mention of his appearance on Batman in the actual biography. There's a photo of him uh, as Egghead, and he actually is with Edward Everett Horton and Adam West both in costume in the picture. So that's kind of fun. So they do acknowledge that he was in there, but I don't think she has any sort of insight as to uh, how he felt about it. But I do know that it was popular enough that he comes back. So, and that's rare because we've seen a lot of great actors, and I guess I'll put that in quotes, great actors, uh, come in and play some of these new villains that are made for the show, and they kind of don't click. But I think right from the start, this one does click, and it's very, very good. And I think you can even see that as a legacy after Batman that shows up in later things. I was reminded of there was a cartoon series that was based on an independent comic called The Tick, and he had a assortment of villains. And I do think The Tick, although it is a satire of superheroes in general, but I do think it plays a lot, especially the live action version, and at least the one that yeah, there's been two live action versions, and the cartoon, they actually do sort of lean into the same sort of camp atmosphere that Batman 66 does. And I think there's a definite thread that you can connect the Batman 60 show to the Tick series, especially Egghead. Egghead looks like he could fit in right on that show. And But I liked it a lot. And are you pleased that we're going to see Egghead again?
Oh yeah. I think besides the four main ones, Joker, Penguin, Catwoman, and the Riddler, King Tut and Egghead, I think they're up there as originals from the series. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Egghead again. I know
Yeah.
I was looking forward to seeing Tut again, which we got to.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to seeing Egghead again, and I know we see him again because there's a specific scene I remember of him riding some donkey down the streets of Gotham City. So that
That
didn't
has to
happen in this two-parter. So
That has to be pretty incredible because Vincent Price, as you could tell, I mean, even without the head, the big, extension on his head, he's a tall guy. He's very tall. So I would feel sorry for the donkey or mule that has to put him on his back because he had to, he's a pretty heavy guy and not big like he's not Victor Bruno, but but yeah, I'm going to be happy to see him again too. I don't know if we'll see him this season. I don't know if he'll recur this season, but I don't know when we'll see him again. But um, I'm kind of itching. We saw Catwoman, but I know we don't get the Riddler, or at least the Frank Gorshin version of the Riddler this season. But man, I'm kind of itching for you mentioned Joker and Penguin, and I'm like, where are they? I mean, we are we are 10 episodes into we're 14 episodes into this season, right? And it's like, where are those guys? I mean, I know that, they were in the movie and everything, but where are they? So I feel like we'll see them pretty soon, but it just seems like it's been a while, right?
yeah, it has. So Yeah, we've been getting all these new villains, so I guess they're wanting to kind of mix it up a little bit instead of us seeing the same villains over and over.
Yeah.
So
Well,
gotta keep
plus
gotta
the
keep it a little fresh.
you got you absolutely. I see that too. And plus I think, I know that Frank was, not really like he was asking for more money or something, and this is why we don't get to see him in season two. So the others might have felt that way as well. So it might have been easier, because at this point, remember, everybody is calling saying, I want to be on that show. Look at all the cameos we're getting and all the named actors that we're getting appearing in small, tiny little roles. So, the producers are trying to fit everybody in. So to get the other guys in to bring them back, that's a slot that you could easily fill because your phone is ringing. So you don't really need to worry about the other bringing like Burgess Meredith back very soon because you've got about like, 50 people who are willing to take his place right now. I just, you know, I just want to see I just want to see them back because they're my favorite as you mentioned they're my favorites. So
All right, well that wraps up another episode. Do you have a shout out, Mike?
I do. And this ties into your shout out from last week because you talked about a wonderful digest version of the miniseries, The Untold Legend of the Batman that you have. And I just wanted to let you know that I went ahead and got the Treasury Edition. Now, this is for those people who are listening. I'm holding up the Treasury Edition of The Untold Legend of the Batman, and it's very shiny. I understand that there's a version that's not shiny, but my comic shop only had the shiny version, and it's sort of a foil cover. But I still think it looks pretty cool. Although if I will say if I see the non-shiny one, I'll probably get that too, because I love this story. I love this story so much, and I love the artwork and the fact that Jim Aparo, who is my favorite Batman artist, by the way. I don't know if we've ever talked about who our favorite Bat artists are, but Jim Aparo, whenever I think of Batman, Jim Aparo is the Batman. His version of Batman is one that I always think of and think of first. And the fact that they have a Treasury edition, a extra large version of his artwork, because John Byrne does the artwork for the first issue. It's a three-issue series, and it's all collected in this Treasury edition, as it is in the volume that you have, the digest version. But so Jim Aparo does the artwork here, and it just is gorgeous. Seeing it this big, I mean, you take a. I'm gonna spoil our viewers here on YouTube, but if you take a look at that shot where he's like looking over all his villains, I love this page. Man, if I could own a page of original art, this would be a page that I would want to own. I mean, and look at how many characters of the bad guys that he's laid out here are on the 60s series, right? This is really cool. I love this, so I'm glad they put this out as a Treasury edition. And just to show you that I can go small too, I also found this. This is something that I've had for years. This is a cassette. It's an audio version of the Untold Legend of the Batman miniseries. It's here on audio cassette. I don't actually have an audio cassette player that's handy that I could play this right now. I'd have to look for one, but I have this on audio too. So I have the original series when it came out, the original three issues. I have those in one of those boxes there. And now I have the Treasury edition and I have the audio version. The version I don't have is the digest that you have. So I will be still on the lookout for the digest version of that, Drew. But I do hope that at some point, this is something that you and I can talk about either as a bonus episode or down the road when we talk about some of our favorite Batman stories because I'm glad they put it out Treasury Edition and I encourage people to check it out and get it because go to their local comic shop. because it is, and that's something you want to get at a local comic shop because if you get it through like Amazon or something, when they ship it, they'll probably bend the heck out of it. They do not care when it comes to sending stuff like that. So I would definitely recommend getting something like that from a local comic shop.
All right. And for my shout out, I'm going to shout out about the Ghost and Mr. Chicken because when we were watching this episode, I noticed Bert Mustin. I saw him out on McDonald's farm, and I'm like, I know that dude. He's from the Ghost and Mr. Chicken, which actually came out in 1966.
Oh, wow. I didn't know
So,
that it was the same year.
yeah, it was the same year. So I looked it up.
Nice. That's a good
So
callback.
yeah, I recognize it, and that's the Ghost of Mr. Chicken is my favorite Don Knotts movie. So I
A
had
good
to
one.
shout out about it. I watch it at least once a year, especially around Halloween time.
It's a good one. That one and The Incredible Mr. Limpet, right? Are where he's a fish.
Yep.
Those are like the two I think my two favorites of Don Knotts. I think, and I think he's in that one too. He's in another one. I know that he's in another. Mustin is in another Don Knotts movie as well. So I think he worked with him a bit. But
Oh,
yeah,
I think now that you mentioned that, I think he's on the Reluctant Astronaut. I
that's
think
it.
he's the
That's it.
he's
You're
the
right.
dude uh when he's at the what is it, the fair the rocket ride. I think he's the dude that's outside banging on it and
Yep, yep.
stuff.
You're good call. Good call. Yeah, good way. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's another good one. Like that. That's the Don Knotts trifecta, right? Of starring movies that he did. I love Don
Well,
Knotts.
there's one more, the shakiest gun in the West. I love that one too. As you can tell, I'm a Don Knotts fan.
I am too, man. I one of my favorite movies is him and Tim Conway in Private Eyes. I love
Oh
that
yes,
movie.
I
That
love that movie too.
that movie is yeah, that movie's got a special place in my heart. That one I saw when I was really younger at the theater, and I just thought it was the funniest movie I'd seen ever for a while, and I still love to watch it. It's not those are hard to get. Those are hard to find. I think TCM shows some of the older ones, like Ghost of Mr. Chicken and some around the 60s era. But the ones that he did with Tim Conway, which I think he did a few, like isn't aren't they both in the Apple Dumpling Gang or something too?
Oh yes, they are. The Apple
Yep.
Dumpling Gang and the Apple Dumpling Gang rides again. I almost
Yeah,
forgot about those.
they teamed up quite a bit. He teamed up quite a bit with Tim Conway, and you can't go wrong teaming with Tim Conway. So
Nope.
good stuff. Yeah, good call. Good call.
There's one other connection I want to point out. The new Scooby-Doo Mysteries. Batman and Robin were on episodes on there, and so was Don Knotts.
Yeah, but they weren't together. They weren't
So,
together.
but not together. Not
Yeah.
together. All right. If you'd like to comment on anything we've talked about tonight, you can reach us at our feedback line 317-455-8411. You can text us, leave us a message, or you can email us at batchumspodcast@gmail.com. All right. You ready to get out of here, Bat Chum?
BatChums are ready to move out.
Atomic batteries to power, turbines to speed. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.
Don't worry, the worst is yet to come.